Hi, and welcome everyone. This is Varleigh at Lavender Sky Panther with you on Saturday. What is it? April 25th already, 2026. I can't believe it. Where did April go? Yeah, we have a little bit left, but come on, it was just March. I don't even know what happened to that month. I don't know if any of you are also experiencing time in very strange and mysterious ways. Oh, hi and welcome, first off, everybody in chat. Lovely, gorgeous people out there. Rita, Illuminated Perfume. Hi, and thank you for being here. And to everybody, feel free to hop in the chat or not, however you like. We're going to have a fun show today, and or at least I think so. We'll see what you think. But as always, I'm going to go through a little round of printed out slides instead of a official PowerPoint thing running off in the background, and then I'm kind of going to do like a straight run at it probably. But feel free to comment on whatever you like, whether it's related to the show, this content or not, as long as it's in good, loving, and kind spirit. That's the only little thing. Okay, so wow. First off, I just want to say this show is going to be about spheres, and if you looked at the description, it's going to be about spheres, namely between 2021 and 2025, as far as actual objects that I directly observed in the skies in that time frame. And I've always kind of wanted to do a show where I put these select few observations together in a category and a cohesive topic of spheres, and I never did it. So this is just something that came to mind to do, from one show to the next. I just kind of meditate in a little bit lightly and just say, hey, what does everybody need to hear or see out there? And this is something that came up for whatever reason. A lot of times I don't know why. I'll just talk about it, and then maybe it has a significance to one or more of you out there. It will make some sense either during the show or after. Okay. So in this case, I have about 6 examples of spheres, very notable ones. Like I'm just giving you the best of the best kind of thing from my 6 years of directly observing the skies and having this channel. And I'm giving you like the 6, what I consider the 6 primo examples of spheres. Now, in the topic of spheres, and of course, because I am looking up, and I know I have some Star Wars fans out there like me. Actually, I never talked about this backpack in the background on some of the other shows that are sky observation, cloaking craft related. This is showing Bespin and from Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, and this is the Millennium Falcon in the background, a little backpack. So it's a little nod to it. And I also want to say that the last handful of shows have been very sky observation intensive. I've just been called for whatever reason to really highlight them, even though I have over 200 shows of looking up the skies and documented some weird stuff, anomalies, not just cloaking craft, but other phenomenon. And I've even made highlight shows of those just to kind of condense it down and give it more more compressed, because some of those shows, if you had to watch 200 shows, so it's very long time-wise. But now I'm being compelled to even give another little mini hit of some of these topics to shine a light on them. And why? I don't ask why, but if I'm nudged to do it, I know better than to argue with it. I just do it. So in this case, we're talking spheres. And not only am I going to show some that I observed directly, but I'm also going to show, some just from some famous movies, which I'm sure you will all know, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, about things like the Death Star, etc. Okay, so that's a lot of chat about a lot of stuff. But also, right before, as I was putting this show together and coming on today, right before coming on, I also noticed, if you're into weather and you like to observe weather, some very kind viewer, a friend of the channel, long time ago, like when I first started, told me about a YouTube channel called fifeweather, and I'll put a link to that in the description area. Now, fifeweather is up in, I think, northern Scotland, if I'm not mistaken, and this is a weather channel that posts Star Wars love, yay, big heart to Rita. This weather channel, day in, day out, consistently for at least over 6 years when I came into the awareness of it, does a time lapse over 4 or 5 different cities in northern Scotland or UK, northern UK. And it's a time lapse of different cities, notable cities like St. Andrews in Scotland and some other ones, and some maybe less known, but it gives a good view on the sky. Now, based on which city it's in, you might really notice weird things happening with the sun in the time lapse, because we're talking, it's way, way north, great observation up there. And but then other cams get a good view on things that show up like spheres or orbs. And I'm talking about massive ones, like planet-sized ones. So I just happened to look at the postings for April 24th on this weather channel. And this one town, I think it's, I'm probably going to not pronounce it correctly. Anybody Scottish out there, you can correct me, but I think it's Lochgelly or Lochgelly, something like that. And this particular cam caught something. And again, I've been, watching the skies for over 6 years. It just kind of, one, intuitively hits me like, whoa, there's something in there, even if it just looks like mist or cloud, or my eyes are getting like super trained to look for stuff. So I see stuff a lot in this cam, like, I see Cloaking craft and stuff. And I used to like grab a screenshot and do my enhancements on it. So if you're not familiar with that, sorry to keep repeating, but this is in case anybody's new here. And actually, welcome. If you're new or returning to the channel, thanks for being here again. But what I do is I'll just take a photo and I can take a screenshot of somebody's video footage. I can take a screenshot or, an image of whatever somebody sends to me, or it's something that comes off my camera. It doesn't matter. This digital format, the way the cameras work, you can find stuff in the photo. So it doesn't have to be the original off of your original camera phone or camera device. So with this fifeweather, I just take a screenshot and then I do my enhancements, which just simply means I'm not adding or taking anything away from the photo. I'm just working with the photographic attributes, within the photo itself. So I don't use filters. I manually up or lower the color, saturation, the contrast, the brightness. On these camera phones now, there's even something called shadows and black point. And all you do is just play with the levels up and lower in your photo, and you'll start to see stuff pop out, I always invite people to go out 2 to 5 minutes a day or at nighttime, take a photo, and then come in and, play around on your device and see if anything pops out. And I think you'll be amazed if you start doing that, like on the daily or even once a week. Well, anyway, just getting back to this. So this is an example. Actually, this will be a little example of how you can, play around with your photos. So here we go. Here is just some excerpts. So in this corner is an example of the raw footage. So I don't know if you can see that too well, but it just looks like muddy and gray. But I started to detect a circle, 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 sphere, sphere, sphere. I just saw it right away. There's a slightly different color tonality coming through. The background is just like a blue-gray. And then here we start to get a muddy brown. So right away, I'm like, okay, we're working with something. So I took that photo screenshot of it, and I just started playing around, like I said, color saturation, contrast, and brightness. That's all I did. And look we're starting to see 3 forms, okay? Now here they are again. What I do is get the screenshot on that one. I start upping and lowering the attributes, like I said. Then I save that snapshot of it. Then I go to this level, start doing it again. That starts emerging. I save it. So what I do is I keep, working on the same photo over and over, keep playing around with those attributes, and you see more and more and more. So here, this starts to look like a sphere with maybe even a hole in it. And that's reddish, yellowish, reddish again. So I keep going with the process as you see. Now, then I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see stuff. It's a little pixelated. Let me just focus in on this biggest sphere. So I zoom in, crop it out, and then look down here. Again, start the process. Just isolating that one element, and look what we get to. So I don't know if you can tell, but we start to see in this one, there's a red sphere, huge one down here, and then something happened up here sphere-wise, and then a triangle starts. So I just, with green, I don't know if you can see it over here in the corner on this one, I just outlined there's a big sphere, another sphere, or round object, a right triangle. Is this thing starting to emerge? So we've got a cloaking crafter object happening in front of these spheres. So that's just an example of how you can take one image and work the attributes, save it, work them again, save it until you get progressively into some very exciting things emerging. So look we go from this muddy thing to this, right? So I think, it's never gets old. I've been doing this for 6 years. To take a picture, I kind of know something's there, but it's the wow and the childlike wonder that you get to when you go from this, and it's kind of like opening up a present. You're given a gift of the surprise of what's hiding behind all this murky crap. So anyway, I just thought this would be a good example to show of the process. And the fact is that those are also spheres. So coming right up, before this topic, we have spheres. So let me just take a minute to get a breath. And again, I just want to say welcome to all of you in the chat. And oh, hey, welcome, Lake Superior Skywatcher, nature lover, who says it looks like a man with a mustache. Yeah, and that's the fun thing on top of all these observations. So as you know, if you've looked at this channel at all, you know that I'll say, hey, this is what I see. What do you see? Because we can all look at the same scene and maybe interpret it very differently. So yeah, that looks like a man with a mustache, or this looks like a flaming ball, or it looks like a horse, or it looks like whatever. We're all gonna maybe see different things, and that's the fun of this. It's all okay. It's all very valid. So let me do this. I don't think I marked the show yet. As I like to do, I just take the cover image, and this is also excuse me a minute. This is also to show where we're headed with the show. So in the background, you won't be able to see it on this, but we'll get to it in more clear slides. That's one of the spheres I'm going to be talking about. This one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one. And as I wrote in the description area, they're all going to be very different. So we're going to get to this example. Looks like an octopus with this tentacle and suction cups on it in the sky. This one just looks like some interdimensional weird molten ball thingy. It wasn't even a pure sphere, but close. This one looks like the Death Star from the Star Wars movies, but not a weapon destruction type thing. It just kind of looked like a base where craft were coming out of this hole, like, some kind of mini mothership, but, much smaller scale. This thing was very interdimensional. We'll get to that. And I'll be looking forward to if you guys see anything with these things. Because again, I took the original footage. I've been looking at it, kind of kicking around in my head for a while. But it's always fun to see what other people see and what your perspectives are. And then this one we'll get to is really fun. This was captured off the TV. That's why it kind of looks a little weird, has some striated lines in there. That was taken off of live TV footage of a very well-known international golf tournament called the Masters in Augusta, Georgia. And that happened a few years ago. So I'll get to the story on that when we get to the slide. So all that to say, I think I interrupted myself at the beginning. It seems in the last couple shows or so, I've been asked to, by my divine team, to kind of highlight certain things. And for whatever reason, the past few shows have been about very notable craft and very kind of standout, stellar examples that I've been able to capture by the grace, literally, of God and whatever ETs, because some of the ones that I captured, I've stated there may be possibly human involvement with maybe ETs, but the scale and the advanced nature of these things, there's no way. This is just human tech alone. And this plays into the theme of we can talk about it, discuss it. No, I think it is just human made, or no, that's ET and interdimensional, or no, that came from the ocean, or that came from inner Earth. Hey, I am open here to discuss everything, because that's how we get to some really fascinating truths. And we're not going to get there with closed minds. That's for damn sure. So all that to say, this kind of craft theme, I'm like, yeah, why every show now? It's been mostly about highlighting this craft. And I get it. It's a little wink and a little inside joke for me from the universe. It's because coming up next week and the next show is probably going to be, sorry if you're not a Star Wars fan, but it is going to be covering probably a little more stuff connected in with what I've observed in Star Wars, because next week we're going to come upon May 4th. And if you're a fan, you know what that means. It's called May the 4th Be With You, as a little joke. May the Force be with you, the line used over and over again in the movies, because supposedly that's the day dedicated as International Star Wars Day. So we'll be going there. And then I think after that show, it'll kind of close out this theme of, more craft intensive. And I think we'll get into other fun stuff. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Like always, we never know where the show is going to go, but I go wherever there's another force takes me there. So, and Lake Superior Skywatcher Nature Lover says, love Star Wars. And yeah, and actually you're kind enough to comment on one of the shorts. If any of you noticed, maybe you haven't, take a look at my shorts section, because I put the other night like a ton of short clips from a lot of the different movies. Actually, I'll talk about that now before I get into the other thing. Namely, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And actually, for anyone who's not familiar with Star Wars, there's a big object in the background, with like the divot in it. And that is a huge, planetary looking body that was used as a weapon to blow up, capable to blow up planets. So anyway, in the short section, I take some excerpts out. I took any kind of scene in these movies I'm going to show you that had a big sphere or a planet or a moon. I just recorded it real fast and spliced it all together. So that's what I did in the shorts. So you'll see some stuff happening in Rogue One, and I'm going to refer to that also later in the show. There's a really cool example from that movie. Again, this is for people not familiar. This is Star Wars, the one that started it all. For my generation and others, 1977, it first came out in May 1977 in the US. It's called A New Hope, or Episode 4. Episode 5 is The Empire Strikes Back. And that was also an incredible movie. And Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And actually, there's a hint of where we're going if you look at the shorts. The Death Star, it's in the middle of construction because it's the second one. So, spoiler alert, they blow up one in the very first movie, and then the Empire won't, back down. The bad side, the dark side, and they start constructing another one. So that's in the background of that one. Needless to say, it gets blown up again. All right, and then there's more sphere and spherical and round objects. I'm including also in these any suns or things that look disc-like. It doesn't have to be spheres per se. Let's just say like round objects. And then this one gets interesting because this is the one I talked about in a previous show, The Force Awakens. And this movie came out in about 2015. And this is the one where I said, what the heck? How do we jump from these other titles to The Force Awakens? It seems so odd to me. And then right about that time, like, all right, we're in the middle of a Great Awakening or an awakening where people are starting to wake up and realize you don't have to stay under the oppression of a 3D matrix. And then this is the final movie of the main epic movies, The Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars, and that's Episode 9. Now, what's interesting about this, if you're not familiar, this came out right ahead of I'll just say the Convid, okay? This came out right ahead of it. And what that means is I saw this in theaters. I think it came out in December. So then right around March, the DVD was supposed to release. It released like 2 days after the shutdown, the crazy, stupid ass shutdown everywhere. And so I was able to pick one up, but not without standing my ground and shouting at people back if they're trying to intimidate me with non-mask wearing BS. But anyway, that's another side story there. But I was able to pick it up and watch it. Now, I will say that at every turn, this movie gets, with the infamous YouTube censoring, gets knocked down at every turn because, spoiler alert, this is the call or the reminder of all of us who are awakening to rise into our full power and overthrow the dark side. So anytime I've done a little snippet or post of this, it's like, all the other Star Wars things get a lot of views, and this one will be shrinking down to nothing. And I'm like, okay, thanks. That means there's something really worthwhile in here to be watching. And on that note too, these spheres that I'm going to show you, a lot of the earlier ones, they would have had a few likes, and then I saw them get stripped down all the way to even one, which is impossible because I had a friend also like it, and it kept removing it. So I'm like, oh, okay. And in those shows, I also talked about some Native American wisdoms. So whenever something's really good and really true, tends to get knocked down to oblivion, at least, back in the day when I started, and even now a bit. And let me go back into the chat. So Illuminated Perfume says, I love the Mandalorian series. Yes, I agree. I've been watching that one. Actually, there's a new movie on that one coming out in May. I think toward the end of May, where it's like the adventures, and I'm going to misquote this, but the title's something like The Adventures of the Mandalorian and Grogu, the little baby Yoda. Everyone calls baby Yoda. But that's a very fascinating series as well. You may have also just given me Illuminated Perfume, something I'll need to put in for the next show on the celebrating Star Wars thing, because I can also go through the Mandalorian. I have, I think, the first 2 seasons on the DVD. Maybe I can, put that together too to see wherever there's a sphere or disc in those. And let's see. Can you repeat the name of the one that's important to watch? Oh, I think if I'm understanding you correctly, it's The Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9. So I have in the shorts section, don't watch that if you're going to watch the movie because it's a spoiler. I show the very end scene. But this one I really loved. Okay, so I got it. She says, thank you. I really enjoyed this too. Now, I will say, just again, sorry if you're not a fan, but I'm going to touch on this for a bit. the original Star Wars series, the protagonist, like the lead, person who brought all the hope, to the universe and everything, is Luke Skywalker. So it's a male figure, okay? And this, that's episodes 4, 5, and 6 in the movies, the big movie style format. This series trilogy, that's the one trilogy. The final trilogy is episodes 7, 8, and 9. Now, in this one of the key figures, there are other male leads, but is really a strong female lead, which when you think about it, I know some people I talk to, especially like younger children, they're like, well, that's not she can't do all that and she can't be super strong and do all of this. And I thought it was interesting because for me, I loved it equally having, the male lead or the female. And when you think about it, Rise of Skywalker calling us to awaken and rise, into our full power and bring back balance, here. So yeah, we got to have the balance of a lead feminine. We had the lead male in the other one. So there's like a lot of smack talk, and it's actually dark Disney. I'll just say, drumming up all of the what I want to say. They're putting up people to smash this movie. I noticed that too when it first came out, because people were cheering in the audience. I saw this live in the theaters. And when I looked on the Star Wars site to see, all the feedback, it was like, oh, that's a baby movie. It was like all negative. And so I'm assuming it was Dark Disney itself, the dark side of Disney, who paid their own people to trash the movie because, no, the stuff they were saying wasn't true. And I know they do that actually for a fact, because I know somebody, a friend of a friend, who had somebody approach them and pay them off to talk well about a movie. I won't talk about the movie. It was horrible. To talk good about it. So that stuff goes on in the real world. Anyway, in this one, I thought the lead character was really good. And, there's a lot of positive aspects out of it. Oh, now I will say too, though, if you're going to watch the original trilogies, 4, 5, 6, the latest one, the finale is 7, 8, 9. Then there are the prequels, 1, 2, and 3, and I'm not a big fan of those. I think the acting is very wooden and very hollow. The direction on that, they just made the actors seem soulless, even though they're good actors. And there were very few wisdoms, spiritual wisdoms, that otherwise are jam-packed in the 4, 5, and 6 episodes. And I would say in the 7 and 9 on the, 7, 8, 9 latest trilogy. So 7, 8, 9, the number 8 one is called, The Last Jedi. That one, I'm not so happy about that one. And a lot of true Star Wars fans are not, because some lines were crossed about things you don't show, kind of things that were, let's just say, not appropriate, like to undertones, sexual undertones, like for kid audience, things that were offensive to women, I would say. And so there are a lot of things in there that, Star Wars fans were like, hey, no bueno, not good. That was not right to do that. And there was a different director on that one than number 7 and 9. And the one for 7 and 9, J.J. Abrams, really captured the spirit of the original, debuting trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. The director of the middle one, The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson, was different. So there was an uproar of true fans who wanted to, maintain the purity and goodness of the spirit of the originals. And that won out, luckily, because then they, flip-flopped, and on the 9th one put the, director from episode 7 back in. So sorry, that's kind of long-winded and convoluted, I realize, but if you hear it and you're meant to hear it, you'll know what I'm saying. So anyway, I do recommend watching 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And as far as the prequel, if you have time, for me, it was a bit of a letdown. I did see them in the movie theater when they first came out. And but with everything, there's some positive aspects in all of it, and definitely hint, drops, and tells to what's really going on or what did go on. I will say, and I was going to save this for next week's show, but I'll get into it now because I'm guided to go there. With A New Hope from 1977, the original that hit the theaters. I just lost what I was going to say. I'll remember. I'll talk about something else, and hopefully it'll come back. If you're going to watch any of these and haven't before, just be mindful. There's the original 1977 version, The New Hope, Star Wars. But then they did a remastered version in the mid-90s of some of these movies. Try to get to the original if you can. There were big changes that were made, between the original and the remastered. some editing choices and things that, again, deviated from the original core of these movies. So the power of these was watching the original. I was going to say something else about this one, but hey, I think I lost it. It'll come back if it's meant to. Oh, and Illuminated Perfume says, "Ooh, interesting. Really, I really appreciate J.J. Abrams. Yeah, he's done a lot of other things. I can't think of them off the bat, but yeah, it was quality for catching and maintaining the spirit of the 1977 movie. And okay, so let me get into this, and we'll come back around just on Star Wars. One other note. Let me say this too. This movie is called Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. This one came out. Let me see. I have it in here. Hang on. If I can get to it quick enough. What year did this one come out? Like 2016. Now, this was a very well done movie, I will say, but I will say not for kids. This is just my opinion. These days I know kids are used to lots more violence than I grew up with. For me, in the original Star Wars movie, again, spoiler alert, I watched it all and I didn't mind all the laser, fights and shooting and explosions. It was exciting. It was whatever. The only one scene was when Chewbacca, takes somebody's arm off. You don't see him doing it, but you see the aftermath of like an arm on the ground. And to us adults, it's just like somebody put ketchup there. It's no big deal. As a little kid, I was like, ooh, that was like graphic violence for me. But even then, I was 7 when I saw the first movie. I could just like brush it aside and be like, oh, but this is so exciting. We'll keep watching. And I forgot about it. But that was, I remember, a very key moment where I'm like, ooh, that's gruesome. Today people would laugh. But back then, it did have an impact. But again, everything else was so great. I was willing to kind of let it slide. In this movie, though, I'll just say, and again, spoiler alert, very well done. Excellent storyline. They even from this movie did a whole nother series of, what do you call it now? Like a streamed series called Andor, because one of the characters in this is Cassian Andor, and they did a great job with that one, although I would say that one's for adults as well. But this movie is there's just no, well, okay, spoiler alert. I mean, there's just no sunshine in this. It's just all pretty sad. I mean, I left feeling so depressed, but I could appreciate how it was directed and the quality of it, how it was filmed and all that. And some of the messages that came through were good. But this one, just really definitely not for little kids. There's a lot of really for this universe graphic fighting and beloved characters dying. And it's like, more like a war setting. Without going super gruesome, but enough where I would say I wouldn't have, kids watching this. No, not for me, not for Rogue One, but adults, absolutely, very well done movie for adults. Okay. Anyway, all that to say, let's go now into the sky observations. Oh, and Illuminated Perfume says, Fringe and Alias by J.J. Abrams were great. Okay. I haven't seen either one, so I'll check into that. All right, so now let's go to real life observations. Talked about the movies a bit. This is in the skies of Miami, March 2025, so a little over a year ago. And a lot of these observations, sky observations I do, direct observations, is not just, oh, I'm in the yard or, I'm at a friend's house or whatever. Sometimes it's just driving around and I'm like looking it up over here and I go, oh my God. Sometimes I will pull over. Sometimes I'll be at a red traffic light anyway, and I can, take a quick snapshot. But here's an example too, if you're going to do any sky observation, if you're not already, of what you might encounter when you really start tuning in and watching what's going around in the skies. So I know this is backlit up here, but this gives you an example of, I'm driving in the middle of a street. I'm at a red light. Here's like a light and signage in the middle of the road. But these are just like all retail shops and everything lining the side of the road. Well, I see this lone, very weird looking cloud. And I put cloud in quotes because when I say cloud in quotes, I'm saying it's Cloaking craft. So this thing is just there, very low in the sky, nothing else really around it. And I've never seen anything like that ever. And I've lived in this city on and off for like over 50 years. And I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And it's so low and it was so gray and it just screams Cloaking craft. But that wasn't enough of being weird. Okay, so that gets your attention right away. And something weird was happening over here. It was like it had some disturbance around it. and there was no wind. So why would we have something disturbance here if nothing strange isn't going on in this thing? Okay. So then we'll go down to this way. So then I take a picture, I zoom in, like, what the heck's going on over here? And I have an arrow pointing it to it because then I see an object that looks like the sun, like, a little sun or something sitting there. But it can't be the sun because we've got the sun is back here, backlighting this. So what the hell is this object, is what I say to myself with these things. And then I do some of my upping and lowering, the contrast and whatever. And I see there's a very bright object sitting there. And it's an object because a cloud wouldn't separate and make a perfectly curved line as a whole there. So then I'm like, okay, let's go zoom in even more. And here we go. Oh, sorry, I'm backwards on this thing again. Look at this. This thing is this. Now, this is perfectly round, has a hole in it, even has something that looks like it's flying in and out of there. And what really got me was this on the top. There are these like regular lights, it's engineered design. And then up here, if I drew overlay lines, sketch lines on it, this is a straight line. This is a triangular shape. So here, I'm going to move this in, and I have better photos coming. But look at that, would you? Crazy. Now, it's not a drone, it's not a plane. It's too large to be any of those anyway. And so we're talking craft, ET craft of some kind. Now I put on here object, not the sun. And I have actually the sequence that I'm showing you is in my shorts as well. Or I'm sorry, in my post section. Okay, I already put that there. So here we go, object, not the sun. And I'm going to try to make this closer on the screen. So here we go. The reason why I'm bringing this up is, with this whole Star Wars thing, is this reminds me of the flippin' Death Star. There's like a depression there, there's a hole there, and there's like a little craft coming in and out of this thing. So, that's an object. And we'll get to a bigger one. This gets a little bit mappy. I couldn't find my original photos, so this is off of my post from another time. But, I'm like, whoa, because when I zoomed in and saw this, it's one thing to show like a depression and a hole or something's flying in and out of it. But then these things is what really got me. I mean, look at that. There's like another sphere behind it, and these things are lit up. So anyway, that's one example of a sphere I had to bring on the show. Now we're going to get to another example of a sphere. This one is over the skies of Miami in 2021. So 4 years prior to seeing that, I see this. This is a cover of the show that it comes from Sky Friendly. So this is the rim of a cloud, and I'll show you a more, pulled back view. But there's this thing just sitting on it. And what makes it also craft, and I'll say this is like an interdimensional craft, although they kind of all are. They have a cloaking. They, they can like phase in and out of state and phase in and out of dimension. And so this is one of those that definitely looks like it could come in and out of dimension. But this looks like it might have, I don't know, I don't want to say the word organic quality to it, but some kind of like shape-shifting, morphing quality to it, just because it just felt so, kind of ethereal, like it could shift and change. It was just really, really strange. It caught my attention. So that's after I've done some enhancement on it. And I'm going to show you the original and then starting to enhance it. So this thing I saw, like towards sunset. So here is the original photo, okay? So these are the clouds developing. What was strange too is I used to go out like every sunset to make sure I didn't miss the sunsets at this time. And remember, this is about the time of lockdown. So I actually worked out to my advantage, not the other horrific things that came along with it, but I could be in the street, no cars coming at all. So I had a lot of time to look around and be able to take, photographs and know that I'm not going to like get hit by a car. I have a little more freedom and, just ease of watching the skies, let's just say. So anyway, I see something there forming, and this is just, clouds just starting to well up out of nowhere. And so with a little bit of enhancement, that really popped out. So anyway, that's the surprise and beauty and wonder of using these digital cameras, because they have a much greater seeing range, if you will, than we do. And just with a little bit of a play, the objects are there, and we get to like take the lid off and go, ta-da, look what you get. You think you see something, can't quite. And with a little bit of playing around with the attributes, it really pops out. So again, we see this thing. And I actually, to this day, in the 6 years of really watching the skies, have not seen anything similar to this, the way it was cloaking and appearing. So that was another standout example of spheres. And then we get to a really fun one. This one happened to be like at close to 7:40 in the morning. And this was a time too during shutdown where I just kind of sometimes stumble out of bed, have my PJ pants on and a t-shirt and just be like, you know what, let me just see if there's anything there. I would look up, look for a while and then go back inside. And so, because I was really dedicated to doing all this sky watching. So anyway, here's where we're going to be going zoomed in, and I'll show you the far away view. But this is also the cover from the one show for this type of sphere. This one is in the category of organic, an organic being, because it has this roundish shape, okay? And then this looked like an eye socket or kind of like a crab where it sticks out. And then it might be a little hard to tell, but here, oops, the lighting is going weird. Hold on. Let me see if I can get the lighting to calm down. Anyway, right here, these are like suction cups on the bottom of a tentacle. And it really did look like those. And actually, if you go to the actual show, which I've linked in the post section, you can see this better. On my printout, it gets a little dark. But this one was an organic kind of being. Now, there's some craft that might simulate an organic creature. Like if you saw the movie Aquaman from 2019, 2018, they had like fish-like ships, that they mimicked fish, but you could tell it was like tech. In this case, I think it is a biological creature. And I'm saying that only because in one of my previous shows, I showed you, actually, I think I have it here. Do I still have it here? Give me a minute. Yes, I do. In the show where I was talking about lightning craft, nighttime sky battle, and then this thing was backlit. This is backlit if you didn't see that show. And this show, later on in the show, there seemed to be like two massive tentacles intertwined in the sky, and they were backlit. And that's when I was hypothesizing that there are big organic creatures in the sky. And I've caught them more than one time, in my sky observations. So that's why I say this one might be some kind of organic octopus type thing. Now, okay. So from a further view back, I'm just standing in the street. But when I'm looking at all this kind of cloud stuff develop, I notice there seemed to be a pure round shape, like a hard edge. Not just like, the roundness of a cloud. No, very hard edge. And actually down here, the grayish one, that's like the original before I did any enhancements. So I noticed this very hard, pure edge, like a ball sitting there in the cloud. And then with some enhancements, you can see it. There it is popping out, right? So from a distance, I just saw the edge of it. It's like a big gumball sitting in the clouds. And then that's when I took that and, zoomed in further. And then, we got the other image I showed you with the tentacle. I was shocked out of my mind. I just thought, okay, it's weird. Even if it were just a ball, I would be like, what the hell is it? But the fact that it looked like there's like kind of like eye things and then like, suction cups on a tentacle further blew my mind. So for me, it's a bio-organism, octopus looking like thing. Now, like I say, see what you think. So even if I'm wrong, in quotes, and that's not what it is, then what is that sphere, right? Then that's when we'll get into some fun and talking about, well, then what is it? All right, now we're going to head to another sphere. This one will go into the category of interdimensional, but WTF or WTH, what the heck? I don't know what it is. I do know that immediately when I originally aired this, and it would have come out close to Halloween, I call this the Halloween edition 2021. So this was seen on November 1st, 2021, kind of backlit a little bit on a sunset sky over the skies of Miami. You'll see the palm trees. I'll pull it up in a minute. But I saw this thing forming. And this is one of the shows where I posted it. All the other shows had more views. This one had equal views rising. And then all of a sudden the numbers went boom, boom, boom as far as, viewers on this. all the way down to 1, which is an impossibility because, again, I had a friend also like it, so it could not have possibly, been just 1. I had a couple friends that I knew could gauge, and when it just kept undoing it, no matter how many times they tried to like it, I'm like, okay, somebody doesn't want this out, so we're going to put it out again. So here we go. This is just standing in the middle of the street looking to the west. And I started to see this roundish thing, okay, with some texture on it. Again, it looks very organized. There's like a cross, like, there's a straight line going this way and another straight line going perpendicular to it. So when you have in the natural sky something that's like making a cross or crosshatch, something moving this way, something moving the opposite way, that doesn't happen in normal clouds, because with normal cloud physics, wind physics, it's just going to presumably blow the whole thing over. You're not going to have opposing forces. So already we know we're talking about something engineered, an engineered design. 1, it's a perfect ball. 2, it is massive. 3, it has an interdimensional feel and quality to it because it kind of was phasing in and out of state. So much so that I called the overall show Phased. A little wordplay here, okay? So when I zoomed in and did my little enhancements, it was very clear. We've got organized structure, making a cross. We've got these very well-formed round dense dots. Something's going on here. And I didn't know what these were at first, but on one of the views, maybe these are even craft, like landing on this ball. It could be any number of things. So this is another one that I said, go ahead, look at the show. I have it linked in the post section. Maybe the further I hold it back, you can see it different. Some of these things you do get a totally different perception of them when you're looking at them really close, and then when you pull back, and take a look at it further back, like, what is that thing, So that's why I find this fun. And yes, I would love to, I think a lot of us in the sky watching or just waking up community would love to see some of these things that we know are cloaking craft. We'd love to see the smoke and mirrors blown out of the way and see the actual thing. But that's not happening yet. This is a slow drip process. Even to me, I've been shown slowly over 6 years. Like, okay, we'll show you this little part and piece sticking out of the cloud. Okay, we'll show you this little sphere. It's like little, just dropping me little crumbs. But where it's all leading is eventually maybe we will see all of this without all the smoke and mirrors. And maybe that's not a time that's so far away. And as I said on my channel, no fear here. All of this stuff is fascinating to look at and wonder about. And I'll repeat myself again. Sorry if you're returning. But for the new people, out of 6 years of doing this, day in, day out, observing the skies, there's only been less than a handful, like 2 or 3 times, where I've looked at a cloaking cloud, as I'm just going about my business. I'm like, oh, I feel something there and take a picture. There's only been 2 or 3 times where I'm like, ooh, that cloud is looking low and it feels very bad. Like I know something not good is in there. And so I just go inside and like, forget about it, tune out. But that's only been 2 or 3 times in 6 years. So that's, for me, a good barometer of there are way more friendly or neutral, whoever's up there in these craft around, and teeny bit of anything that might be up to no good. And even if it is up to no good, we're protected, period. So that's how I feel, and feel strongly about that. Okay, now we're going to get to 2 more things that get pretty exciting, I think, anyway. Okay, and 2 things that are very timely and serendipitous. And when you get some of these serendipities happening too with sky observations, there's just that gives you a validation that you really are seeing something very interesting. And I'm saying that because this is going to be a back-to-back sky observation. So like within 1 week, I saw 2 very notable, profound things in the sky. First up, we'll make the comparison to a scene in Rogue One. And again, look at my shorts for that. So again, that's this movie right here. Oh, sorry about the glare. Rogue One. So in that movie, there's a scene where the Death Star, which I mentioned earlier, and sorry, I don't have like a standalone picture of the Death Star, so just look at my shorts. I've posted there if you're not familiar. But here from Rogue One, we'll look there first. From Rogue One, these are just scenes that I took from the TV, okay? So in Rogue One, this is what the Death Star looks like as it's coming out of the atmosphere up onto this planet. So it's about to blow up a facility on a planet, okay? Because there's a laser that comes out of that little depression, And it can be either targeting on a specific target or it can blow up an entire planet. Okay. So here it is coming up over the horizon of this other planet. Now I want you to like really look at this image over here. It's a really, really beautiful image, just as images go. Really look at that image. And now I'm going to take you to a real life situation over my neighborhood in Miami that captures that too. So I just was taking, before I do my great reveal here, I was just taking pictures over the block, but something caught my attention. There was like a void, a feeling of a void here. Okay. And so let me do it right. Wrong way. Okay. Let me do it here. So I'm looking up the sky, and the more I looked, something said to take a picture. So I did. And I'm like, well, why do I want to take a picture? It doesn't look that remarkable, you know? But then where I have these arrows are the edges of it, look like kind of like something circular happening. So I knew it was right to just, okay, take the photo, Varleigh, just go later and do your thing with the contrast. Maybe something will pop out, right? Sometimes I can get to it right away. Sometimes it might be days later. So I did that. I did the enhancements on this. And look what started showing up right there. There's a huge circle with like a crater hole at the top. Now I know there's like a lot of interference, and I do a whole show where I walk you through on show number 186 step by step. So go see that show. But then the more enhancements I did, you see the outline, I could draw a circle around this whole thing. And again, the crater's at the top. And then I did a little more enhancement zooming in. And then you can see, you know, there's like this huge circle with a crater at the top. And then, you know, to the point where we go down here, and then there's a crater, and it even looks like an object's flying out of it. So right away, when this started emerging, you know, and again, see the show, you'll see better what's going on. And I see this huge, huge sphere. I mean, look at the size of it over the neighborhood. This is just the top of the tree in the street. It's massive. Reminded me of this immediately, this scene. So I thought that was pretty spectacular. And so then we get into the questions about it. Actually, I'm going to show you a big version right here. Let me look at the chat. Oh, okay. And Lake Superior Skywatcher Nature Lover says, and I'm not sure at what point you said this, but it says there is something tracking with the utmost intelligence. Absolutely. So here we go again. Here, I'm going to pull back a little. Here is this massive, massive sphere. And here's like a crater with something flying out of it. And then there's a lot of weird milky interference. So there's a lot of ways that these things cloak. So in this case, it looked very ghost-like or phantom-like. So with this, you would almost say, well, it looks like a big projection. Like, is this blue beam technology? Is this some kind of holographic projection in the sky? I'll say no, it was too massive. And this happened when? This happened March 31st, 2023. So in all of my sky watching, I have never seen a phenomenon like this, except for the very next example I'm going to show you. But this was massive. Again, over a neighborhood that I've come and gone and known for over 50 years. Never seen anything like this. And I think there are other things cloaking in here, by the way. You know, when you have just weird disturbances, it's usually other things cloaking. So the question is, I know this is not holographic or a projection. So only two things can really happen. And maybe you guys have other ways of looking at this. But for me, it's either this is there and we've got a glimpse of a moon or Earth-like planet in another dimension, but just for the one little window of time, we're getting a glimpse of it. It could be in a higher dimension. It could be what people call the new Earth or a parallel Earth. And that I'm in the 3D and happen to get a glimpse of a 5D situation or 4D or, you know, higher. Or this is there in a different way, like an overlay. But either way, even if it were real, maybe it also is just really there, kind of phasing in and out of state, like I showed you in that other example of that thing phasing in and out. Maybe it is there. And I always have had a question about gravity, about what celestial bodies really are. So clearly, if gravity works in the way we think and that thing is really there, well, we're not having tsunamis and chaos and all the things they show in those stupid disaster movies about, oh, the meteor of the planet and the gravity of it's going to change. No. So this one I'm on the fence with. I think it could be just seeing into a higher dimension and the camera caught it. It could be something happening on a parallel dimension that this dipped in, we could catch it and it dipped back out, or it really is the object really cloaked well. And that everything we've been told about gravity and gravity on some of these planetary bodies, we can throw out the window, which I think we can do anyway. Or if you saw that, it's a really cheesy movie, but there's some fun parts in it. The movie Moonfall that came out not too long ago, they show the moon as being a construct. Like the outer is, just like a metal, and inside there's a whole nother world of stuff going on. I don't want to give the movie away. And that it's not like a heavenly, quote unquote, rock body like we think. That's possible too. So I'm kind of leaning toward a parallel dimension object here, but food for thought. What do you think? I definitely captured it. It's definitely not a lens flare, because this thing is taking up the entire camera view, and there was no sun exposure like to create flares anyway. So it's too massive. And as you zoom in here, it's a craft. Again, go see show 186 if that entices you to look further. Now, that in and of itself was one of those mind-boggling moments, kind of a serious wow moment, like that's a huge object sitting there. That would be great in and of itself. But what happened next makes it all connect, like, okay, we're seeing something. Let's get to the bottom of this maybe, if we can. Oh, and Rita says, definitely a possibility, like, wondering, what is it? Thank you. So here's the next thing that I'm going to get to. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is something that happened on live television on April 9th, 2023 at the International Masters Golf Tournament. A lot of you may know what that is or know people who watch it. It's in Augusta, Georgia, very famous golf tournament. So during this time, I don't really watch these things anymore, but I happened to walk through a room at the time that happened to have like an 80-inch huge television screen, and a group of people were watching it, the golf tournament. Well, I see a scene from across the room, and I see this massive sphere on the screen in the live broadcast of this thing on the major television channel in the US. And I just started laughing because instinctually it just came out of me, because I'm like, oh my God, that's a freaking cloaking craft or cloaking object. And so what was funny about it is, and I'll show you the images, is at the time, what you're going to see is somebody setting up on a fairway to hit the ball. And there's this huge sphere, that a round thing that takes up the entire view of the sky. Now, at the time, the sports commentator was even baffled. He even said, he's like, oh, wait, that looks like some condensation on the lens. But then he even caught himself and he's like, wait, but that doesn't look like what condensation on the lens looks like. And even people who aren't sky watching, who aren't really waking up, really aren't open-minded, were saying, yeah, what? That's not a condensation, but they couldn't fill in the blank of what it was. I'm over in the other corner just laughing because I know what it is. It's cloak and craft, and I can't wait to get a picture of it and then do my thing on it, right? So, but I was in mixed company that did not have open minds, so I couldn't say, hey, I need to go in front of the screen for a minute, guys, and take a picture of this thing. It could be cloak and craft. Instead, I just said, oh, hey, let me take a picture for this. I want to make it my screensaver. Okay, white lie, it's okay. If I said the real thing, people would just not even be able to compute, maybe even, who knows what. So I just felt that, you got to read the room. It was just not my time to say, I'm going to take this for sky watching example. So anyway, here we go. Let's have some fun with this. So let me go to the original. Sorry, it's always backwards. So I don't want to give it away, but you'll already see it. And again, go look at show number 188. I entitled it, Look Up Biggest Hole Ever. And golfers might think, oh, it's a big hole, hole number 18. No, we're talking about a huge ass hole with a hole like crater within this bigger sphere in the sky. So here's what I see when I'm crossing the room. Now, of course, I put these arrows in there, and I put these letters to look out for other things. But here's the guy setting up, and I forget who it is. It's over here somewhere who he is. But he's setting up to tee off, on the fairway there. But I see this huge thing. Now, if it's not lens condensation, because look at the size of it, that's not lens condensation, you would just say, oh, that looks like a moon, a very big moon, right? So then we go to enhancements. And there we go. Just a little bit of contrast, upping the levels of it, we start to see a very well-formed moon with even a crater in there. We see a bigger hole and the other lesser holes and all the texture and everything that goes along with a planetary body. That was not condensation. There would have been a big difference in what would have emerged. Then also over here where the arrows are, there's other craft cloaking, expelling this cloaking material, and we get into that as well. So from a distance here, again, this is the size of it, and on an 80-inch television screen, it really was clear, at least, again, clear to me from across a room. Doing a little bit of the up and lowering of the condensation, that was a funny slip. A little upping and lowering of the contrast, and this thing really starts emerging. So, with a little more contrast, again, I took that and saved it and then reapplied the contrast, brightness, color, saturation. That starts emerging. Now here we get an object. These are pipe-like objects with some cloaking material coming out. And then over here with a little more, adjustments, you can just see there's some like red tones, to this body, but definitely holes in this thing. Okay. So this happened, what did I say? April 9th. The other huge thing that I caught over my neighborhood was March 31st. So we're talking within a little over a week, I see this huge object in my neighborhood in Florida, and Georgia is the state just north of Florida. And a week later, this shows up there. So that was my absolute confirmation. The timing is everything. It was serendipity. This thing, let me see if I can, I don't know if you can see it. So this circle on the top of it with this big hole, again, happens over my neighborhood when it never, ever happens. Have never, ever come in a photo of mine over all this time. And then all of a sudden, I'm divinely shown in a weird way to look at the screen and see this. I could have looked at the screen in any other moment and missed it. I just happened to walk through and look up at that time. So anyway, I do highly recommend you see the show. This one was done, what am I saying? Okay, so like 3 years ago. So I might have different impressions than the narration that I did back then. I got to watch the show again myself too. But look at this thing, biggest hole ever. And when I launched this show, I noticed some other people kind of copycatted it in England. So I launched it first, and then they would have taken the footage and then did it. Other YouTubers I noticed wasn't really cool because they didn't give me credit. However, for me, I know that, I'm supposed to do this to get out there. But this got a lot of traction. So even with all of the YouTube censoring and blocking of my channel at that time and ongoing, this somehow was able to kind of release and make it, farther than usual. So that too shows me there's a there, when that happens. So anyway, that was just another thing that happened. So hope you enjoyed that portion of the show. Those are real life sky observations I made. Now, at the beginning of my sky watching with all of this, I did mostly photographs. Now, if something was truly exceptional, I would do video. But because of the limitation of, memory cards and whatnot, I stuck with more of the photo format. And but I've archived it all. I've got whatever video clips and stills all somewhere in a couple different formats, so I don't truly lose anything. Because if you heard my origin story on this, why I'm even looking up, and I invite you, I explained it on one of the lives. That was divinely guided. I didn't plan on looking at any of this stuff. I didn't even plan on doing a YouTube channel. But something said, look up, and then it was clear I'm supposed to freely share all of this with all of you. So as always, I'm always happy to see what other people find. Hopefully this inspires you to start a little YouTube channel if you don't have one already, and if you like to go out and look at sky things or even nature things or whatever. And a really easy way to start is, if you don't really want to put yourself out there, like it took me a long time before I even showed my face. So I would just show, let everything else speak for itself. And all you'd have to do is create like an alias, like a dummy, email account, or one that you're going to never use that will be dedicated toward whatever channel you start. Just pick an alias. So my channel, I've said it before, Varleigh, Lavender Sky Panther, those are aliases just to kind of protect my privacy and security. That's just how I feel about it. Other people don't mind if their full name is there. And so, but you can definitely go the very low key, anonymous route. And a great, easy way to start is even just with your camera phone and just upload little shorts, like take a picture of a butterfly or, video of a butterfly and just try it out and have fun with it. And then the creative process in you will just naturally evolve and we're good. And like I said, the only disclaimer too, if you're going to start something, and again, this is for people who just really starting at zero and aren't really into any tech and all of this, it's just to make sure basic housekeeping with this is just make sure you're not showing anything that gives away your actual location, especially if you're going to, share stuff repeatedly from the same location. Don't show the house numbers or a car or, license plate, if you can help it. Other people don't care about it and just say, whatever, I'm protected. So it really just depends on your comfort level and what you're willing to do or not, right? And so you can also take footage and like crop it out if you accidentally caught something, or there's filters where you can fuzz out numbers and stuff if that's, important to you. And okay, so that's just like my little announcement on that one. And Rita says, thank you. But I do encourage it because, I'll go off on another little thing and feel free to jump in the chat. That's kind of all I wanted to show as far as the images, as far as what I was observing. We're living in an age where privacy, security, it's kind of like, what's happened in the United States, at least, is, they're really, what I want to say, overstepping. They meaning whoever's like running the show, would-be controllers trying to like oppress humanity, have taken more than license to put cameras up on every intersection. There's cameras everywhere in the airport, and this is all done without our consent. Our meaning the people, our meaning people, living human beings who are connected into a divine source. We did not give consent to this. I didn't give consent for like a surveilled state to the point where the phone is taking pictures of you. Look, I put tape on it, but pretty much that whole screen can take a picture of you. In a car I was recently in, and the dashboard, there's like two, not one, but like two kind of like secret cameras. One not so secret, I guess that's if you get in trouble, you can hit like OnStar, whatever these services are, like, hey, I'm in trouble, and I guess they can take a video of you to see if you're all right, or a picture. But I don't agree to any of that. I don't want that in my car, wherever I am. So a lot of stuff has been going against our God-given rights for a very long time. As you know, I'm sure most of you out there have been recorded. Somebody's like listening or recording. There's even a whole career for humans. And now we've got bots and everything else which way, but a career where they had actual human beings doing it before they went to a lot of this automated systems. But these people were called digital markers. So look, I can say chia pet, there's little terracotta pots, and then the little, greenery grows over it. And then you've got like Big Bird, or you've got a little image of, Ernie, or, any of these characters. I could just say chia pets now, and then like on my phone, I bet you like within a few minutes or an hour, I'm going to see all ads to go buy a chia pet, that type of thing. So that's called a digital marker. And like a human will go in and hear something and then, do whatever they do to make sure you get launched and bombarded with ads for different things. And now, again, I think it's mostly digital. Then you have also other maybe governmental entities listening in. And then again, I did not give informed consent to any of that with the phone or any of these services like emails or whatever. So I don't buy into, well, you signed up, you should know that's what's going to come with the territory. No. There was no meeting of the minds, no consent given for that. And these are things that are really should remain like in a public domain, freely given and in place for all of us to connect with each other. Now, what I want to say about all of that, the reason why I'm going down that road with it is, as in terms of security and privacy, it's kind of out the window. And if you think about it, there is so much data on even just one person. So what are they going to do with all of that data? Now, of course, if you're targeted, somebody can like really look into your stuff. But at a certain level, here comes the spiritual word to the wise part of the show. At a certain point, we have to not freely give our stuff, like never give consent. But if somebody gets their hands on stuff, just know that, and you don't want them to, and you didn't consent to it anyway, that at some level, we are divinely protected. You got to remember that. Well, do what you want to do, but remember that, because there's so much information. And it's so easy for anybody to lift it. I was like astonished when I very first saw I have Android, but there's with the iPhone, there's like AirDrop or something. You could accidentally give like all your files of your photos to somebody and not even know it, or somebody can like AirDrop it. I don't know. There's ways. So at some point, we just gotta, anything we say or do, just consider like it's an open book, or somebody eventually could know. Do your best to keep your stuff private, but at the end of the day, things, if somebody really wants to hack or do something bad enough, they can do it. But don't let it bother you. Know that there's a divine hand, there's divine protection over each of us, and there's always ways to move forward and fight something or counter something. If something turns out to be kind of adverse in your world and in the real world, because otherwise, think about it, it's just not fair. It's just not fair. Like, I was traveling, and the guy, I said, no, I'm not going to do the bio picture. I don't authorize that. I don't consent. They want to take your picture fresh. I'm like, no, I got my ID. You look at it. That's what this is about. You have what you need. I don't consent to a photo, just at a big airport. And so they try to bully a bit. I'm like, no, I don't consent. And so they have to listen when you say that. And then the guy was trying to say, oh, well, you've already been captured by 4 or 7 entities by the time you got here. No, I've brought this up before. That really pissed me off. He said the word entities. He didn't say cameras. What's that about? So I looked at him. I said, yeah, and I didn't consent to those either. If that's the case, thank you for telling me. That's violating all kinds of things. And he just like, shut up. And he goes, oh, all right. Well, anyway, that came up for a reason. So anyway, just know that there's so much information, exponential, on all of us. If somebody wants to know all this private stuff, again, don't freely give your privacy away, but just know that there's that divine protection, and ask for divine help. If you ever get in a situation where you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Just say, hey, God, step in. Come on. I didn't consent to this. So anyway, sorry. Not sorry, but it went on for a bit about that. Well, if any of you have something you want to start talking about, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I do have 3 cards. I was drawing some cards. And again, if oracle cards or, not your thing, or you don't need any little extra guidance or advice that wants to come out, then now's the time. Have a beautiful weekend wherever you are in the world, and peace and love to you, right? Oh, hey, welcome, Sarah. Great to see you. So I do have some oracle cards. Now, the interesting thing is that I pulled out about 6 decks. Again, I was going with this spheres theme, or anything round, and I don't really have, funnily enough, for like looking at the skies all the time that I do, I don't really have any of those astro or galactic decks per se. I just haven't felt like that's what I want to, do with them. But I have all these other kinds. So I'll tell you which ones I pulled out. I pulled out the Celtic Spirit deck, because they have like a lot of round things in them, disc-like things. I pulled out the Runic Tarot. Actually, I'll show you for anyone who likes tarot and oracle cards, and maybe you haven't seen some of these. This is a really cool one. There's a little dark leaning as far as the images, but it's really cool, and there's some good things that can come out of it. But this one, it has the Runic Tarot is the Norse thing, so you got like that Norse wheel there. And I also pulled out, some of you may know this one, the Oracle of the Hidden Worlds guidebook. It's with the, who's the artwork on this again? I always forget his name. He's well known. Artwork by Gilbert Williams, and it's a Lucy Cavendish deck. Anyway, this is the guidebook for that. So I pulled that deck out too, because it has a lot of orbs and kind of astral stuff in it a little bit. And then I also was looking at Tarot of the Divine, because on this box, this has like little fables and stories artwork. This one, it has the orbs or discs. So I pulled that out too. And I pulled out one more. I pulled out Wisdom of Hafiz, because in this deck, there's a lot of like discs and circles and stuff. So out of all of those decks, I went through before the show. I shuffled each one. I do the hop out method usually, unless I get an image to just pick something from the back, middle, or top. And so I'm shuffling, seeing if anything hops out. Was connecting in, saying, what is this beautiful group of people that might jump in here? What does everybody need to hear right now? Or even if you find this video later, God, divine team, what should come through? Well, I went through all of those decks and nothing hopped out. So I'm like, okay, guess we don't need to do a message today then. But then I got to the very last one and it was this deck. So the Wisdom of Hafiz deck. And this has a very positive feel to it, the deck and all of that. Well, actually, look at the front. How can you not be positive if you have a beautiful, hummingbird on there, right? So anyway, I did the shuffle thing and 3 hopped out. So the first one came out as number 7, Embrace Stillness. And right away on this card, let me just, wait, yeah, that's better. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this without the glare. So I'll come in a little closer and pan up or down. So embrace stillness. And we've got these giant, like supersized white lotus. Now, I haven't seen, I know that's a TV series or a streaming series. I haven't seen that. I have no idea what that's about. But anyway, that might be something for somebody, because I'm seeing huge, white lotus, and it's going back and it's disappearing into this scene where there's like a big city. These are buildings, but they look like phantom, like that, huge sphere that I saw over my neighborhood that was also seen like in that, I think it's the same one that showed up again in the international golf tournament. But it seems very ghost or phantom like this city back here. It seems very desolate and empty. And then we have like a pink tinged lotus, rising up above and just floating in the air. So actually, this isn't maybe necessarily a message for the masses, but this is just very much echoing, what we saw in the scene, in my picture earlier, where there's like this ephemeral scene and then this object clear as day. Actually, this is like the golf course, the fairway, and then that huge moon was there. So for me, this is maybe a personal message. Sorry, guys. But this is kind of just validating that scene with the golfer was legit, that this is some type of, object, a spiritual thing is going on here. But anyway, I'm going to show you these 3 cards, and I'll talk a little more about messages that apply to everybody. But anyway, this is number 7, embrace stillness. Then the next card of the trio that came out is number 14 or number 5, take action. So we've got embrace stillness, take action. And I like it because we've got a disc in the background, or sphere in this one too. Now in this one, that could be the moon or it could be the sun, depending on how you want to look at it. And there's 3 of them. They're all kind of running in the same direction. Take action. And then the last one that came out was, I have to look at it for a minute. I need the flashlight to see the number. It says guidance is golden. It's number 42 or number 6. Okay, so guidance is golden. I kind of got this like temple scene with a kind of dome on the top. So that's like a sphere to me as well. So it goes along with our overall theme. So when we look at all the 3 together, we're getting the setup of embrace stillness, take action, and guidance is golden. Now let me see if I put these up in the right order. Yeah, there we go. I actually got it right. Okay. So, sorry guys. So that's that advice. So what that means to me is that it's kind of like the old look before you leap, right? Just take a breath before you take action. And as this applies to us in modern day, say you've got a very challenging situation happening and you really don't know what to do and you're feeling pressured and it's a big deal. There's something on your mind weighing heavily, whether it's to do with business or something in the family. Unless it's like a life or death immediate situation, like get to the ER type situation, if it's not that, you can always take a breath, sit it out a moment. You don't have to give anybody an answer immediately. It's like, nothing's going to happen that you can't give an answer tomorrow. Like take 24 hours, give yourself time to, take a breath in, take a breath out, and just be still for a moment. It says, embrace stillness. And to take that further, say you have a chaotic household, not in a terrible way, but say you got kids running around, dogs, cats, birds, whatever else, or, things aren't going well with a partner and the relationship's rocky. So you got a lot of interference going on, just say, get into stillness. Sometimes that looks like going into the restroom, putting the toilet lid down and sitting on top of it and just taking a breather. Like to me, when I was much younger, I was in not total chaos, but similar situations where that was the only refuge where I could try to connect in, not meditate. It's funny, not meditate in the lotus position. I can never do that anyway. I got to be walking or connect in through an activity. But that usually was like the only place where I could really get still, where I would just say, okay, God, should we do this? Wait for a little yes or no. Should I do that? And most often I would always just hear wait. And I'm like, thanks a lot. I'm looking for guidance. And a lot of times the guidance is just sit still and just wait until you know what to do. So that's just a reminder there. Now, after you've done that, embrace the stillness. Yeah, then there may be time to take action after that. And maybe the action isn't what you think necessarily. So sometimes action is also do nothing. I'm just going to say, we think action is like go, 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 but look at these horses. Yeah, they're running, but they also look like they're standing still. Sometimes action might be, okay, I don't know what to do right now. I'm not hearing the guidance, but the divine guidance. But you know what I'm going to do? On my calendar, I'm going to pull up a paper calendar, get a big fat marker on it, and I'm going to circle a date that I'd like to have this, or this done. That's taking an action. So, sometimes a lot of us beat ourselves up like, oh, I should be go, go, go. I don't know what, to do, but I better go do something. Sometimes it's no, just like calm down, sit, and guidance will come through. Sometimes action is you feel like something's shutting you down and you need to go take a nap. Going to take a nap is an action. Now, staying there indefinitely is then something different. But I think the message coming through is let's just not beat ourselves up and be so hard on ourselves. Time is an illusion. I think a lot of us are feeling that right now. Like from the last time I did this on last Saturday, I was thinking, wow, time is really flying because Sunday, Monday, we're going like a blur. But then all of a sudden, hitting Thursday to today, it seemed like it stretched out forever. So we do have an ability to perceive time and kind of, I don't want to say control it, but if we really put our intention into it, we can stretch time or shorten time. That's a real thing that we can do. And I have a real life example of that. I did that on a vacation. It took me 14 years to go to this place I'd always wanted to go to. Part of it has to do with this location is magical. It was New Zealand. There was some kind of different energy there. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it felt like otherworldly, interdimensional there. But what happened was time really did a weird stretch back and forth. So my intention was, oh my gosh, I can't believe I finally made it here after 14 years. This is, just beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I made it here. And then on top of it, I had an intention. Because I've been on vacations back way in the past where it would go by too fast. I had a stressful job and I felt like I didn't even go. So on this one, I just said, I would love for this to feel like it never ends. Let it just feel like really long. And that's what started happening. I mean, I was there for 2 weeks, but it felt like I was there for over a month and it felt good. And I'm like, how did that happen? Like every day I thought, oh, we should be going home now. And then it was like, oh, we've only been there a couple days, Oh, Rita says that's on my places to go list. LOL, absolutely go there. And the one thing driving me to go there was Lord of the Rings. So they have a tour there. You can like go to places they filmed and whatever. Beautiful, beautiful place. You can't go wrong. You just like look anywhere you're looking and you just feel there's something otherworldly magical there. Okay, so then when we get to guidance is golden. Yeah, so these are the golden moments to just sit there in the stillness, take any guided action. So not action just for action's sake, but if you kind of get a little nudge or pull to go somewhere, action might be like, oh, you know what? Normally I never go to this place, but I don't know, something's telling me to go to this place. And that could be an action, just showing up because you're listening to your intuition and you're listening to, this says guidance is golden, but I'll flip it and say you're listening to golden guidance. And that guidance is coming in from your divine team. That could be your higher self, could be any number of things. And I've said this on a previous show too. Sometimes we just think, but and I'll just say personally, we just, kind of get into, I'll just pray. Well, who are you praying to? You're praying to the loving God. Make sure you know who you're praying to. Or you also bringing in your guardian angelics. Most people have more than one guardian angel. Sometimes, they say it takes a village to raise an idiot as a little joke. It takes, a whole team of guardian angels to make sure we don't, get screwed up down here. Are you got them included? Are you praying to your ancestors, the loving ones, galactic family? We got a lot of love and support on the unseen. So that golden guidance can come from any number one of those things or all of the above. And like I said, sometimes if you really aren't getting anything, you can just throw out a phone a friend thing, like that TV show. There was a game. One of them, I didn't see the whole thing, but I just know the concept of phone a friend. If you're stuck and you're like, I don't know the answer, and they let you like phone a friend to get the answer from the outside. Well, you can do that too. You can just say, hey, I really need your advice here, team. To me, I've said before, it's just a golden cloud and all the good and loving beings are there, whoever they are. Sometimes I don't even know. I just know they are of pure love. That's all I need to know. And I just say, hey, I'm asking for help. Can't be any more clear about it. Show me. And then just let things kind of marinate a bit, and then you will be shown, especially if you've done that, phone a friend, your team. Yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to say. And okay, so if nobody else has anything, I think I'll just wrap it up. Unless if I see it in chat, if anybody wants a bonus card, I'll pull one. I will take requests if you saw any of those decks you liked. You know what? I am feeling to take one from the Celtic Spirit deck. Let's see if anything comes out, and then I will wrap it up. And anyway, in the meantime, I don't have any background music as I shuffle cards. But I'm wishing all of you just tremendous peace, love, strength, whatever you need right now and wherever you are. And, next week, like I said, I think we're going to be doing a Star Wars special, but maybe it'll be something else. I never know until, we get in there. And some cards fell. Oh, thank you, Sarah, for being here. She says, thank you, Varleigh. Never know what's going to come up. Thank you, SKR. Thank you so much. Let's just see what we got. All right, one more little bonus message. And it's actually a really nice one, and better to end on this than probably anything else I had to say. So we get number 25, a dream, manifestation, plan, and be. And that's a good reminder too. I'm probably going to give a message that's not even really to do with this card, but here we go. Dream, and we've got a beautiful leafy fae sitting on a toadstool, but I know that by Fliegepilz. I think it's Fliegepilz in German. The red cap on that mushroom with the white little dots on it. So 25, or number 7, dream, manifest, plan, and be. And the thing I want to say, even more than manifestation or any of these things, and actually I'm kind of surprised at what they're saying on this card with plan and be. I would flip this card around. I'm going to make up my own message here. And I do really like the write-ups on this, and this deck is done by Nicola McIntosh. She does a really great job. But for whatever reason, I'm being guided to say it's not about manifestation or planning, just the be part and the dreaming part. Because a lot of times we'll say, I want to manifest this and this. I'm not a huge fan of the word manifest, I'm just going to say, other than if you take the mana, the mani part, and the fest part from 2 different languages. You got mani in Italian as hands, and fest is German for party. So for me, if you're going to look at manifestation as the party in the hands, then I'm on board. But otherwise, there's a lot of stuff that, we might be able to manifest and bring through, but there's a lot we can't or not supposed to, because there's divine timing and there's a divine plan, and there's our over soul that is the bigger picture. And we might want something, but that'll be the absolute worst thing to wish for, to bring in, or there's something even better. So okay, my point of view is have an idea, and you can have wishes for things, but also right after you wish for it, just get to a neutral state where, I wish for that, but bring it, don't bring it. I'm cool with it either way. And to me, that's when you get, what you quote unquote are wanting. But anyway, good message there on the card also, though, to dream. I like that she's sitting out in nature. That goes actually back, and I put my cards away. That sitting in nature, I'm going to combine, if I can't find it, reminds me of her sitting on that little face, sitting on the toadstool. Just reminds me of, too, that embrace the stillness moment. So she has the mushroom imagery, and here we have the lotus energy. But either way, sitting, and the lotus opens up, ready to receive. And sometimes that means we're sitting in stillness for quite a while. And in the life's journey, it might be feeling like we're stuck in the mud. And are we ever going to move off of this standstill? And there's just a lot of messages and power in that still moment, in that stillness. And if we remember that it can't possibly last forever, even if it feels like it, take each step, even if it's a baby step. There's a timing and a rhythm and a pacing to everything. And I've been lately not tested in a bad way, but I guess I could say I've been shown lately that I'm supposed to be still way past my comfort zone. Even just getting daily handyman chores done around where I live. I'm okay, I'm going to go do this. I know all the things I have to do. There's a list, the big shopping list, things I got to do to get this stuff done. And I'll be okay, in a normal world, no problem. I can install 3 smoke detectors. No big deal. But then something happens, and I'm oh my God, this is 4 months later. Why can't I just install the second one? And it's way past my comfort zone. And so I think this is a new phenomenon, that we're experiencing in this stage of the awakening as well, the collective awakening. And so what we thought we needed to do, well, who's saying that? Am I putting my own pressure on it that I got to do it? is somebody else. Do I resonate with that? If I installed it today or in 5 months, does it really matter? Well, no. So, it's just another message of be still, like they said. Take action when you're divinely inspired. If you never are, then do your phone a friend to your divine team and say, hey, okay, come on. There's going past my comfort zone, but this is really a bridge too far. Can you help me out? Throw me something, give me a direction. And then you'll start to maybe get a little something, but be okay with the baby steps too. Now, if this doesn't apply to you at all, and you're like, oh, no, I'm that horse that, hey, give this to me, take it, I'm running with it. Excuse me. And if you're in that energy where you are really full steam ahead and everything's lining up and doors are just flinging open in front of you, great too. But, excuse me, for whatever reason, I was meant to linger on the opposite end of it. But anyway, I'll close for now on that. Thank you, Rita says beautiful, and Sarah T, beautiful emojis. And I just want to say I love you all so much. Oh, and Sarah, thank you for your kindness too, saying really appreciate these videos. Fun, joy. Thank you, Varleigh. Thank you to everyone. Oh, yeah, and I wanted to bring up too on Lake Superior Skywatcher Nature Lovers comment on one of my videos. Was it her? No, it was Divine Lady. Sorry, Divine Lady. All of you, thank you for all the comments that you do. And also if they get through, and again, pardon if they don't get through, that's YouTube's nonsensical censoring, because I don't, if you say something that's, neutral to kind or whatever, I don't take anything away. Heck, I don't even take anything away ever, except if it's not in good spirit, then that's not going to stay up. But anyway, I think Divine Lady had said something about, thank you for keeping things. No, it was Lake Superior Skywatcher and Nature Lover too. It was two people. Just saying thank you for not going into fear with any of this. And I thank you for reminding me of those comments, because absolutely everything about my channel, what Sarah's saying too, is meant to be fun, meant to be inspiring, creativity, inspiring as well. A lot of you are already, but in no case is anything that I talk about even in fear, because I don't even go there anymore. There have been times in my life I was fearful, whatever, but with awakening, and especially if you've had people pass and you've been there next to them bedside while they transition, and you've been shown some miraculous things and know that the spirit realm is absolutely real and incredible and in your favor, there's no reason to fear anything. And even in crisis moments where you'd say, and I've been in threatening situations where somebody could hurt me, divine steps in. There's a divine power that's almost like a force field that pushes anything that would hurt you away. I've had that happen more than one time. So when you just know it, that you can walk with full confidence, knowing that you are absolutely protected. Some people also are into dragons. I appreciate them. I'm not like a huge dragon person. But for some people, that's the spirit they need to remember. Like you've got a dragon on each side of you as you walk through, if you're going to be in a dangerous situation, for example, that they go before you. Again, don't purposely put yourself in a tough spot. But if you find yourself in one, or you didn't mean to and find yourself in one, just know you still have absolute protection. They're not there saying, oh, that idiot, why did she put herself in that situation? Like, oh, we got to come in and step in and help. So some people, they do a visual technique where they're walking in a room, they just feel they need some extra strength. They'll imagine like a beautiful, loving dragon over here, but fierce one over here as you move through. And that energy and that spirit of that does move through, and the actual like little spirit, not little, but spirit beings are with you. And that is felt. And you don't need any weaponry. You don't need anything. You walk through with that power. And so anyway, and sometimes we don't realize we might be in a jam and need the help. And that's when, if we're meant to stay on this planet, ain't nothing going to take us off. And that divine power will move through and protect your ass. And by the same token, if we're meant to go, nothing's going to keep us here. So once you trust in that and know that no matter what, no matter which way it plays out, it's okay. What are you going to fear? The answer is nothing. So anyway, we might have little wobbles here and there, though, too. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm just impenetrable, never. But the moment you might dip into it a little, go, nope. Everything's happening for me, not to me, and all is well. And literally on the dime, everything, you will start to see it all work out that way, even in your heightened of being like fearful moments. So remember that too. That's a phoning of a friend of a whole different level. And for me, in my experience, for over 15 years, when I'm consciously working with these things, absolutely worked every time. So, including if you're like stuck in the highway or whatever. I've told that example before many times too. I've had a couple times where instead of going, oh no, holy, you know what, I'm in a bind, I might say that for a minute and I go, nope, it's happening for me, not to me, and all is well. And I have two, not one. Tow trucks pull up the same time. Do you need help? I had some guys run across from a corner, hey, do you need this and this? And they helped me move the car. Always happens immediately when I stop to remember, nope, it's happening for me, not to me. And if you want to throw in an all as well, then it is. Anyway, all right. Well, I love all of you beautiful people out there, and just have a gorgeous right now. And until the next time, I'll see you again next Saturday. I'm thinking we'll just be kind of that May the 4th be with you show a little early. I think it's May 2nd instead of May 4th. But who knows? Different topic might pop up. As always, if you have any ideas or want me to cover anything, if I feel like I can give it good justice, I'll do it. And otherwise, I'll just go with wherever the wind and the divine team take me. And okay, well, anyway, parting is such sweet sorrow. I hate to say goodbye. That's why I'm lingering a bit. But I love you all. Till next time. Bye.